Today's long and challenging class is a total body yoga workout designed to build heat in the body. This is called tapas in Sanskrit, and it's used to burn out the impurities in the body. This flow also incorporates lots of twisting and core work to help stimulate the digestive system as well. Hi there, welcome to Yoga Dose. My name is Cece. We're going to begin seated today in Sukhasana, just a gentle cross-legged seated position. Begin your Ujjayi pranayama, breathing in and out through the nose with a slight constriction in the back of the neck. And on your next inhale, raise the arms up and overhead. And then begin to twist over to the left with your arms overhead, only using your internal muscles to twist. Creating a nice long spine. Come back to center. And then twist over to the right side of your mat. Arms overhead, again only using your inner abdominal muscles to twist you. Inhale and begin to fold forward over your legs any amount. Just getting a gentle stretch in through the hips. Maybe resting your forehead on the mat. Drawing your low belly in and up. Inhale, rise back up to a seated position. Inhale your arms overhead. Twist over to your left, this time with your left arm behind you, your right arm resting on the left knee. This time twisting using your arms as levers. Inhale, come back to center with the arms overhead. And exhale, twist over to the right. Left hand resting on the right knee, right arm behind you, maybe gazing over the right shoulder. Belly drawing in. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, fold forward over your legs. We do a lot of twisting in this class, which is really good for digestion and good for your spine health. So just warming up with gentle twisting in the beginning. Make your way onto your hands and knees, coming to a tabletop position, knees under hips, wrists under shoulders, and begin to make a cat-cow movements, warming up the spine. So exhaling, and you're rounding your spine like an angry cat, drawing the navel in, tucking the chin, and on your inhales, lifting the chin, lifting the chest. And just move that way a few times. Go at your own pace. Maybe pausing where it feels nice. Notice how your spine is feeling. This class is designed to build a lot of heat and again, lots of twisting. Now inhale and lift your right leg up off the ground, keeping level hips, and extend your left arm forward. And then reach back, grabbing the top of the right foot with the left hand. Keeping the right hand planted on the ground. Release, coming back to tabletop. And then extend the left leg back. Extend the right arm forward. Keeping level hips here, belly drawing in. And then maybe reach back, grabbing the left foot with the right hand. Balancing on opposite limbs here. Release that stretch. Moving into thread the needle, taking the right arm underneath the left. Maybe even tucking the left toes, extending the leg, and wrapping the left arm around your back. If you want to challenge your balance, you can lift the left leg up off the ground. That puts a little bit more weight onto the right shoulder for a deeper stretch as well. Release and come back to center. Thread the needle on the other side, this time threading the left arm underneath the right, wrapping the right arm behind your back, and maybe even lifting the left leg up off the ground. Being gentle with your shoulders. Only doing what feels good at the beginning of your practice. Come back to center to a tabletop position. Tuck your toes and come into plank. Fingers spread wide, arms shoulder distance apart. And then engaging your core, lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. In this first downward facing dog, feel free to bend the knees one at a time, stretching the hamstrings, bicycling the legs. Take the feet wider than hip distance and take the right hand around the left ankle, gazing up and underneath your left armpit. A gentle twist here in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Come back to center and take the twist on the other side, this time left hand around the right ankle. Breathing steady here. Come back to center, downward facing dog, bring your feet back to hip distance, and then shift yourself forward into a plank position. Belly drawing in, legs engaged, shift forward about an inch, and then bend the elbows, lowering to chaturanga, and then lowering all the way down to your belly. Taking the wrists underneath the elbows, lift the chest into a low cobra, taking a gentle back bend. And then planting the hands and the forearms, lift yourself into Sphinx pose, which is a little bit of a deeper back bend than cobra. Draw your low belly in to protect the back. All 10 toes are pressed down on the mat, and your inner thighs are rolling towards each other. Moving on to Bakasana, or half Bakasana, reach back for your right foot, bending the knee so that the heel goes towards the glutes, stretching out through the right quadricep. If you've flipped the grip, try to square off your shoulders towards the front of the mat. Gently release the right leg and switch legs, taking half Bakasana over on the left side now. Being gentle with your knees, only moving as deep as to where you feel a good stretch. Release the left leg. Plant the wrists underneath the elbows, lift into cobra pose again, belly drawing in. And then press yourself up into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Bend the knees, take your gaze forward, step your feet up towards your hands. Inhale, lengthen your spine, reaching through the crown of the head. And exhale, fold forward over your legs for Uttanasana. Alternate bending one knee at a time. Notice how your hamstrings are feeling. Pedaling your heels just like you would in downward facing dog. Keep your low belly drawing in your forward folds, and then keeping your left hand on the ground, raise your right arm up with a bend in the left knee. You can even take your right arm behind you, resting it in your front left pocket, maybe taking your gaze towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, take this gentle twist to the other side, bending the right knee, keeping the left knee straight, and then wrapping the left arm around your back, maybe reaching into the front right pocket. Release, folding forward over your legs. And then inhale, rise all the way up with your arms overhead. And exhale into Samasthiti. Again, inhale your arms up and overhead, palms touching, and then exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, lengthen the spine, And exhale, hop or step your feet back into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, lift the chin and chest into upward facing dog. And exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Spreading the fingers wide, lifting through the forearms, taking weight off the wrists. Reaching the back of your legs towards the wall behind you. Keeping the quadriceps engaged and the belly drawing in, low ribs drawing in as well. From here, bend the knees, gaze forward, hop or step up, inhale and lengthen. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up, arms overhead. And exhale, arms down by the sides, Samastitihi. Taking Surya Namaskar again, arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, create length, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant the hands, hop or step back for Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Regain your steady breathing, keeping your arms in line with your ears. Triceps rotating back, biceps rotating forward. And actively reaching your heels towards the ground, although they never have to touch the ground. Just reaching, sending the energetics that way. Bend the knees, gaze forward, hop or step to the top of your mat. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, rise up, arms overhead, palms touching, and exhale, Samastitihi. Again, arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen, belly drawing in. Exhale, jump or step back, Chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chin, lift the chest, belly in. And exhale, downward facing dog. Building heat in the body, Surya Namaskar, sun salutations. Connect your breathing to each movement. One breath per movement. Bend the knees, gaze forward, hop or step up to your hands. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, fold forward over the legs. Inhale, rise up, arms overhead. And exhale into Samastitihi. Moving to Surya Namaskar B. Bend the knees for Utkatasana chair pose. Arms overhead, gaze towards your thumbs. Exhale and fold forward over the legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, plant the hands, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, moving into downward facing dog. Now stepping the right foot in between the hands. Slowly lower down onto your back left knee for a low lunge position. You can keep the back left toes tucked, arms overhead. Engaging the left glute, belly drawing in. We're going to take a twist. So crossing over to the right side of your mat, left tricep resting on the right knee, hands into heart center, twisting open through the upper spine. Come back to center, plant the hands, move through Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale, slowly as you can, step the left foot in between the hands, lowering down, low lunge, maybe keeping the back right toes tucked, engaging the right glute, taking your right arms overhead, maybe gazing in between the thumbs. Bring your hands to your heart, now twisting to the left, right elbow or tricep resting on the left knee, using that leverage to bring your thumbs closer towards your sternum, twisting to the left. Inhale, bring your hands back to center, plant them down, move through Chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chin and chest for Urdhva Mukha, and exhale, hips up and back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, releasing tension in the neck. Gaze forward, hopper step up, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the knees, Utkatasana chair pose. And exhale, Samastitihi. Surya Namaskar B again. Inhale, bend the knees. Make sure your knees aren't going over your toes. Exhale, fold forward, belly drawing in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, Chaturanga, shoulders no lower than elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot in between the hands, lifting up into Virabhadrasana A, Warrior 1. Right knee is right over the ankle, hips parallel towards the front of the mat. Lower your hands down, move through Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step the left foot in between the hands, lifting up, Warrior 1. Gaze in between the thumbs. Low ribs drawing down towards your frontal hip bones, belly drawing in. Release the hands to the mat. Move through Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha, and exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Regaining your steady breathing. Inhales as long as your exhales. Try to make them about 4 seconds each. Bend the knees, gaze forward, hopper step up, inhale and lengthen the spine. Exhale, folding forward over the legs. Inhale, Utkatasana chair pose. And exhale, Samastitihi. Again, Ekam, inhale, Utkatasana, deep bend in the knees. Dve, exhale, fold over the legs. Maybe moving into an optional Bakasana here. Knees up towards the armpits. Begin to straighten the arms. Shoot through Chaturanga. Pancha, inhale. And Shat, exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot in between the hands. Warrior 1. Exhale, lower the hands down. Nava, inhale, upward facing dog. Desha, exhale, downward facing dog. Step the left foot in between the hands, Warrior 1. Suvardasha, lower the hands down, Chaturanga. Triodasha, inhale. Shatordasha, exhale. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Steady breathing. Panchadasha, bend the knees, hopper step up, inhale, lengthen. Shodasha, exhale, fold. Saptadasha, bend the knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. And exhale, Samastitihi. Again, bend the knees, chair pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen. Maybe move into Bakasana. Balancing on your arms. And then attempt to shoot your legs back into Chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot in between the hands, Warrior 1. Exhale, lower the hands, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg in between the hands, warrior one. Exhale, lower the hands to the mat, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. We're beginning to build heat in the body, creating our tapas. Bend the knees, gaze forward, hop or step up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the knees, chair pose. Exhale, Samasthiti. Inhale, bend the knees again, Utkatasana, chair pose. Holding here in chair pose, low belly drawing in. Now, bringing your hands to your heart, twist over to the left side of your mat, right elbow against the left knee. Check to make sure your right knee is not creeping forward. Bring it back in line with your left knee. Weight in the heels. Belly drawing in so strongly to protect your lower spine. Inhale, bring the arms back up for chair pose, and then twist over to the right, this time left elbow across the right knee. Again, check to make sure that the left knee isn't creeping forward. Keep the weight in your heels, maybe lower the hips a little bit more. And then exhale, fold forward over your legs, releasing the legs. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the knees onto the triceps, taking Bakasana, crow pose again. Straighten the arms any amount. Upper spine rounding. Slowly lower the crown of your head down to the mat, lifting the legs up into a tripod headstand. Or just keep working on your Bakasana. Keep the core engaged. Maybe clap your hands and then shoot your legs back, chaturanga. You can always press pause, maybe watch that, and then give it a few tries. You just gotta move your legs quickly, or your hands quickly. Inhale, right leg up into a three-legged dog, then gently bring it forward in between your hands, rising up into crescent pose, Anjaneyasana. Maybe bend the left knee, drawing the left hip forward so that your hips are squared towards the front of the mat, and then re-straighten the left leg. Your right knee is right over the ankle, and maybe you're taking your gaze up towards your thumbs. Bring your hands into your heart and twist open to the right side, belly drawing in. Using your left elbow to create leverage against your right knee, drawing the thumbs closer to your sternum. You can stay there with hands in your heart center, or take a bind behind your back with your right arm behind you and your left leg on top of the right knee. Maybe gazing up towards the ceiling or the sky if you're outside. Release your hands down to the mat, move through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Moving into three-legged dog on the left side. Slowly bring the knee in towards the chest, step it in between the hands, rising up, Anjaneyasana, left side. Maybe bending the right knee, drawing the right hip forward in line with the left. Drawing your low belly in, left knee right over the ankle. You should have the majority of your weight in your left heel so that you could lift your left toes up at any time. Bring your hands to heart center and twist over to the left side of your mat. Again, using the leverage of your right elbow against your left knee to bring your thumbs closer to the sternum, or move into the bind behind your back if your shoulders feel like it today. maybe gazing up towards the ceiling if it's okay on your neck. Keep the back leg active. Release the hands, plant them shoulder distance apart, move into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Gazing towards your navel or in between your thighs. Then bend the knees, hop or step up, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward over the legs. Inhale, bend the knees, Utkatasana chair pose. And exhale into Samasthiti. Deep bend in the knees on your inhale, come back to chair pose. Exhale, bring your hands into your heart and twist over to the right side of your mat again. Right elbow on top of the left knee. This time, plant the hands down and maybe take side crow, Parsvabhukasana, by balancing your left leg on top of your bent chaturanga arms. Play with that arm balance a little bit and then come back to chair pose. Twist over now towards the other side of the mat. Hands at heart center. Maybe plant the hands down and then rest one hip on your right tricep, your knee on your left tricep, and try moving into Parsvabhukasana, maybe splitting the legs or keeping the legs together. Maybe hit pause and try that arm balance a couple times. From here, move into a regular Bakasana crow pose, rounding through the upper spine and drawing the belly in so strongly is what's really going to help you. Then lower the crown of the head down to the mat, extend the legs straight up. Tripod headstand, maybe clap the hands again, shoot back into Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha, and exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up, bring it in towards your chest, step it in between the hands, rise up, crescent pose, Anjaneyasana. Draw the right hip back, left hip forward, square hips, long spine. Try to get your right thigh parallel to the ground, and then twist open to your right side with your arms extended, an open twist here, using only the internal muscles to twist, and then lower the left hand to the inside of the right foot, keeping the right arm raised for an easy twist here, a low twist. Grab the big toes and then maybe lift up into side plank. Keeping your hips up here, balancing on the left arm, maybe taking your gaze up. Plant the right hand back down, lower into Chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up, step it forward in between the hands, coming back into Anjaneyasana, crescent pose. Even though your arms are up, don't let your lower ribs raise up. You got to draw them back in towards the spine. Twist over to the left with your arms extended, and open twist using your internal ab muscles to twist. And then plant the right hand on the inside of the left foot, keeping the left arm raised. A low twist here. Now maybe grabbing the big toes with the left hand, rise up into Vashisthasana, side plank. You can keep the left leg raised, left arm raised. Holding here in side plank, building strength through the oblique muscles. Plant the left hand down, lower into Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Regain your steady breathing. Inhale, raise the right leg up, step it in between the hands, this time rising up into warrior one, so you're lined up front heel with back heel. The back left foot is at about a 45-degree angle, and your right knee is bent right over the right ankle. Gaze up towards your hands. Now moving into Pavrita Parsvakonasana, twisted side angle. Keep the legs the same, but twist over to the right side of your mat. Left arm on the outside of the right foot, and your right arm is up overhead with the pinky facing down. Shorten the stance, straighten the legs, and move into Pavrita Trikonasana, twisted triangle pose. So your left hand is still on the outside of the right foot. You can even place a block there if you need to. Keep the legs engaged, weight in the front ball of the right foot. Now maybe grab a block, moving into twisted half moon pose. You're planting the left hand down, raising the right arm up, and keeping the left leg lifted, keeping level hips. You have an option to reach back with your right hand to grab the top of the left foot for a bind, maybe gazing up towards the sky. Release that bind, and then plant your right hand down, opening up towards the left side for Ardha Chandrasana half moon pose. Actively pressing out through the heel of the left foot, left arms raised, gaze following that raised left hand. You have an option to bind here as well. Left hand grabbing top of left foot, and actively press the foot against the hand if you're binding. Release the bind. Slowly see if you can balance with the right hand off the ground for a second, and then move into Utthita Trikonasana triangle pose. Both legs straight. Right hand either on the shin, a block, or around the big toe of the right foot. You want your spine parallel to the mat. Inhale, come up to a T position, lengthen the stance, and then move into side angle pose, Utthita Parsvakonasana. Right hand on the outside of the right foot, left arm up and overhead, with your pinky facing down, thumb up, so that your left shoulder is externally rotated. Your gaze should follow your fingertips of the left hand. Inhale, rise up into warrior two, keeping the legs as they are, front heel lined up with back arch, deep bend in the front knee. Engage your triceps and reach through your fingertips. Windmill your hands down to the mat, move through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Got to move through that sequence on the left side. Raise the left leg up, step it in between your hands, rising up, warrior one on the left side. Lined up front heel to back heel. Gaze in between your thumbs. Low belly drawing in, Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor muscles engaged. And then twisting through your upper spine, moving into Pavrita Parsvakonasana. Right hand on the outside of the left foot, left arm up and overhead, pinky facing down. Gaze following the fingers. Weight in the outer edge of the back right foot. Shorten your stance, straighten your legs, moving into twisted triangle pose, keeping the right hand on the outside of the left foot, left arm extended straight up, and squaring off your hips to the front of the mat, left hip drawing back, right hip drawing forward. Twisting through the upper spine. Belly drawing in to protect the lower back. moving into twisted half moon pose. Your right hand is planted, right leg lifted, hips level, twisting open to the left, and maybe binding left hand with right foot, pressing the foot against the hand so strongly. Release. Plant the right hand, opening up into Ardha Chandrasana. Almost as though you're a starfish here. You're reaching through all 4 of your limbs so strongly. And then you have the option to take the bind, right hand on the right foot, pressing against each other. Gaze up towards the ceiling if you can. Release, try to balance before you move into Utthita Trikonasana. Front heel lined up with back arch, both legs straight. Gazing up towards the extended hand. Breathing deep here. Couple more breaths. Lift up into a T position. Lengthen the stance, moving into Utthita Parshvottanasana, side angle pose. This time you have the deep bend in the front left knee, left arm on the outside of that foot, maybe on a block. Right arm extended forward, pinky facing down. Press the left knee into the left arm strongly. And then inhale up into Warrior 2. Deepest bend in the knee. Knee right over the ankle. Last standing posture. Feel the engagement in the legs. Cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Move through Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. From this downward facing dog, begin to walk your hands back towards your feet, coming to a forward fold. Maybe clasp opposite elbows and sway side to side, drawing your low belly in strongly. Keeping your legs straight here. You can even have your feet about as wide as the mat. And then drop your hips down into Malasana, Garland pose. Hands at heart center. This posture is so great for releasing the lower back, especially if you sit in a chair a lot. And just make sure that if your toes are pointing outward, your knees are following in the same direction. Wrap your right arm around the right leg and reach the left arm back, clasping hands behind your back, and then take your gaze upwards over the left shoulder. Taking a gentle twist here in Malasana. Also a great shoulder stretch here. Release, hands back to heart center, and then this time wrapping the left arm around the left leg, reaching the right arm back, finding the left hand and clasping hands, gazing upwards past the right shoulder here. Release, coming back to center. Come onto your hands and knees, plant the hands, lower the crown of the head down, moving into a tripod headstand. So from this tripod headstand, you can either just stay and hold here, or we're going to lower the knees down, hugging the knees in slowly, moving into side crow. So your knees are you're going to take your right leg and rest it on top of the left tricep, and then lift the crown of the head up, coming into side crow, being gentle, maybe straightening the legs. Lower the crown of the head back down, and then lift the legs back up into tripod headstand. This is a difficult transition, so be patient with yourself. And then we're going to do the same thing, but on the other side. You can always take a rest if you need to. Otherwise, this time resting the left thigh on the right tricep. Maybe straightening the legs, lifting the head off the ground, and then lowering the head back down, lifting the legs back up into tripod headstand. Phew, that's a lot of core strength. Slowly lower your legs down and rest in child's pose. You can always press pause and try that transition again. Be careful with your neck. Sometimes tripod headstand can feel like more pressure in the head. But just check your alignment with, you want your wrists right under your elbows, arms 90 degrees, so that you can put a lot of weight into your hands to counteract the weight against your head, because you don't want very much weight in your head. So just play with it and see what you can do. From child's pose, come into a plank position, lower into chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog, and then exhale back into downward facing dog. Bend the knees, gaze forward, and jump all the way through into a seated position. You're going to roll back onto your back, taking the legs up and overhead like halasana, but you're going to grab onto your big toes here. So your hips are up over your shoulders and you're holding onto your big toes. And then draw the belly in, roll up onto your sit bones, keeping a hold of your big toes. Trying to find balance here. Lifting the chin, gazing up towards the ceiling. Keeping the legs straight. It's like Navasana, but you're holding your toes. Now release the hold of the toes and move into Navasana boat pose. Engaging your core muscles. Lower down onto your low back for Ardha Navasana, or a hollow body hold. Breathing here through this core work. Lift back up into Navasana boat pose. Lower onto your lower back, Ardha Navasana. Lift back up, boat pose. And maybe grab a block if you have it, and just do twists, tapping the block to one side, twist to the other side, tap it on the ground. Moving at your own pace, keeping the legs up. I think these are called Russian twists sometimes, I'm not sure why. But you're just twisting side to side, and the block helps give some extra resistance, make it a little harder. You can always do it with nothing in your hands. A few more repetitions here. Feel your core muscles working, building so much heat. Hug the knees into the chest, and then lift your bum off the ground, shoot back chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog. Taking a little bit of a longer upward facing dog, and then exhale back into downward facing dog. Bend the knees, gaze forward, come through to seated. Lie down onto your back again. This time we'll move into bridge pose. So stamping down through the heels, lifting the hips up off the ground, maybe interlacing your fingers underneath you. Try to keep your chin away from your chest, and see if you can lift your hips another inch. From here, you have the option to put your feet on blocks, especially if you have any pain in your lower back, but we're just going to take a full Urdhva Dhanurasana, full wheel. Make sure you're squeezing your thighs together as though you're holding a block in between them. using your legs here very strongly. Lower down. Resting, just let your knees knock in towards each other. We'll take another full Urdhva Dhanurasana, lifting up on your inhale. Try not to clench your glutes, but just spiral the inner thighs towards each other so strongly. Lower back down. Resting here for a moment. And when you're ready, inhale, lift up into Urdhva Dhanurasana number 3. Lower back down. Let the knees knock into each other, resting. And again, another Urdhva Dhanurasana. You can do it. You can always just take bridge pose too if you're fed up with the full Urdhva Dhanurasana. Just listen to your body. A couple more breaths here. Lower down. Being careful with your neck. Hug the knees into the chest. Rock a little bit side to side. Neutralizing the spine from those back bends. Begin to roll up and down along your spine, rocking like a ball, and then rolling up to a seated position, taking Paschimottanasana, forward fold, taking the counter stretch for Urdhva Dhanurasana. Some days I like to keep a big bend in my knees and wrap my arms underneath them, more rounding through the spine. But if your hamstrings are warm and you want to take a full forward fold, feel free to do so. Inhale, release from that stretch. Hug the knees into the chest, press the palms down, lift up, shoot back, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, gaze forward, come through to a seated position, and then lie down onto your back, hugging the knees into the chest, Apanasana. Maybe you're rolling a little side to side, maybe making figure 8s with your spine on the mat. And then drop the legs over to the right side, taking a supine twist. Winding down the practice, gently twisting the spine. Notice how your body is feeling from all those twists. Switch sides when you're ready. Maybe extending the right arm out, gazing over the shoulder. Like I said earlier, twisting is so good for the health of your spine and for digestion, and building heat the way we did with our sun salutations in certain poses really helps build tapas to purify the body. From here, move into shavasana, your final resting pose. Feet about mat distance apart, arms by the sides. Let your body sink into the mat, soaking in all of the benefits of your practice today. Begin to bring your breath back to your body. Maybe bring small movements to your fingers or your toes, circling your wrists or your ankles. Stretch your arms up and overhead. Slowly make your way out of your shavasana, meeting me in a seated position. Inhale, bring your arms up and overhead. Exhale, bring them to heart center. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice with me today. Namaste.
I thought this video by Cynthia Thurlow on intermittent fasting was so interesting. Have you ever heard of intermittent fasting? She lists so many different health benefits that can come from this, but the best part is that she says it's both flexible and inexpensive. It sounds like it might be something interesting and I might want to try it out.